Gino comes to us courtesy of Evening's Delight, South Florida's source for all your outdoor kitchen, grilling, and tailgate needs. They've got a full line of grills, smokers, charcoal, pellets, and fuel. Gino loves the grill. Evening Delight has them. 2 locations, Pinecrest and Davie. Evening's Delight is South Florida's source for big green egg grills as well, accessories, seasoning, sauces, and more. And before we talk a little football here, reminder, if you're looking for some new Canes gear or Dolphins merch, check out Caneswear in Davie. They're on University Drive next to Las Spadas, or check out all the gear online at caneswear.com. Gino is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. So I'll ask you this first, because this surprised me at the beginning of the show today. David Lee Roth is celebrating a birthday today. How old do you think he is?
I'm going to guess he's between 65 and 70.
He's 70 years old. It blew me away. Made me feel older than I am already.
I mean, when somebody asks me that now, don't you automatically go, how old am I and when did I hear him play? And
yeah, I guess so.
Okay, he's got to be, plus 10 for me at least. I mean.
That requires some math, though, and I don't know which math classes you took at UM.
You're not good at math.
Yeah,
you buy low and sell high, though. You buy low and sell high. And then maybe that's your problem with gambling. If you're bad with math, why would you bother?
Terrible with math. I don't know if it's a good bet, bad bet, good odds, bad odds. But I do know how to subtract because that's my account keeps getting less and less.
Although I'm a little disappointed because Channing was on the Dodgers last night. And I think you bandwagoned that, and then
I didn't. I forgot to.
You forgot.
He won all the money.
Either way, I was kind of rooting for Manny Machado, obviously one of my neighbors down in Coral Gables. But we'll get him next game.
You're muted, Crowder. You're muted, CC. It's a professional broadcast here.
Not very good at this, Gino.
Yeah. But and Salon, our executive producer, he has no idea. He's just staring like no one knows what's going on.
Hey, I thought Crowder finally figured out what the cough button was for that phlegm stuff he gets. He finally figured out how to turn his mic off.
I've chimed in 8 times to this conversation. Nobody could hear me.
Hey, it's good work. That's why we're videoing
it. It made him act. Yeah, it's a hell of a series, though. You a Dodgers guy? Say, I know you're a Cali guy. Dodgers?
Bro, unfortunately, I'm an Oakland A's guy because the A's. Let's see, I was born in '70, so the A's won in '75, '6. They won like 3 in a row back then. Would always go to the A's game, and they're taking my team. I think they're going to a AAA park in Sacramento next year.
But will you follow them to Vegas when they're in Vegas? Like, will you root for them, or you have to adopt a new team?
I'm not adopting the Giants. I can't stand the Giants being an A's fan, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just go to normally when I got to college and I couldn't watch. Well, baseball was on so late. I wasn't a huge fan, and we know about our local team here, so I'll go to the UM baseball. I guess.
That's right. It's probably the best move. Yeah, take it collegiate.
It just growing up out there, Hoch. It was. I mean, you grow up and you go to baseball game. It was $3 to sit in the bleachers of an Oakland A's game.
And $1 for a beer in the bleachers.
Yeah, it was like you went there, and I still remember Chili Davis, who used to play with the Giants, and then he went to the Angels. Man, he was playing in right field. He struck out 4 times one game. I was like, holy cow, these people are mean out here. They were riding him so hard. But I loved every second of going to A's games, and it's an unfortunate situation. I'm hoping Major League Baseball and the other owners, after they try to go to a minor league park for a year, will step in and give the team to some other billionaire that wants to spend some money on some players.
See, Gino was at UM. He was asleep before 10, so he couldn't watch the late games. I respect that. Starting quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner.
You know that, Channing. Investing in my craft. I was in bed early.
No, in all seriousness, so Gino was out at the UM Cal game. Does the Canes team, and I'm not saying that you didn't party or have fun, but one of the things Crowder was saying after the game on Saturday was Cam Ward reminds him of all business guy, where successful quarterbacks. And I was wondering if it reminds you of the late 80s Hurricanes, even the early 80s Hurricanes, Doesn't matter how much they're down, or maybe it's just him. Maybe it's not the team. Doesn't matter how much they're down or what point it is during the game. He's composed. He doesn't ever get rattled. Even if he does something great, he doesn't get overjoyed. Like, does it remind you at all of the 80s teams you were on?
Well, I think it's any player that achieves, his status. I think you're confident in your abilities. You just kind of think you run out, your 60 minutes of a game runs out, and you're always winning. But he, when it was 38-10, I don't think there was a lot of confidence going on that side of that side of the sidelines. I think that then he started looking for Restrepo, and man, I tell you what, he's not the biggest guy. He might be one of the smallest on the field. That dude made some catches. It didn't matter if he was getting lit up, and he knew he was getting lit up, and he made some tough grabs. He made some clutch grabs, and it was like Cam knew when it really came down to it, he was throwing a number 7, and number 7 was coming up big for him, and did basically for a quarter and a half. I mean, it was fun. I thought you were going down the route, I will say, when it was about 1:30 in the morning in the middle of the game, and I don't ever change my watch time. It's always on East Coast time. I mean, Hawk, I was exhausted. I was like old guy, old broadcaster exhausted up in the booth. I ain't gonna lie.
You got a Red Bull. You got to have something. You have some Celsius or something. Gino.
You know what? I should have thought about that, but Cal was a Pepsi stadium, and normally with the Pepsi stadium, it's the only time I would ever drink Mountain Dew. But they didn't even have no dew, so I don't mess with Pepsi. So I'm a Coke guy. So I
right
was,
after my own heart. I do not understand someone who knowingly chooses Pepsi over Coke.
No, it's awful.
Hey, Gino, talking about just calm, and my thing about Cam, when he throws a touchdown, he goes back to the sideline, gets on the phone, talks to a coach, or gets on the iPad. If he throws a pick six, goes back to the sideline, gets on the phone, gets to a coach, and looks at the iPad. Even Shannon Dawson, I was impressed by their play calling. It wasn't a panicked, let's go 5 wide now, we're down by 20 plus. They still ran their offense. And that damn all-go special that everybody loves, you quarterbacks love that damn all-go special. That's what Restrepo caught for the 77-yarder. I saw it coming when Restrepo lined up at the 3. Like, speak on Shannon Dawson's play calling when you're down by that much.
I think that he's been great. He seems like he's, similar to Cam. He's very calm on the sidelines. He doesn't really get too excited. Always sticks to the plan. I thought early, listen, and I told you the risks of the game. It was a 10:30 start. Cal had a bye week. Justin Wilcox is a head coach because he's a great defensive mind. And I thought they would, listen, they could run into a buzzsaw here. And that's exactly what happened. I thought early on we could have leaned more on the run because I thought our O-line could have overpowered Cal a little bit. So I think that we just didn't have the chance. I mean, it was crazy. I'm at halftime chanting, Cal had run 19 plays and they had 21 points. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was like, wait a sec, Cal doesn't even have as many plays. They have more points than they have plays, and they made the big plays, but they never, like you said, they never kind of flinched and just kept slinging it. I think there was a lot of coaching moments for UM. I called Lamar on Monday, and I said, if I ever threw you 2 deep posts and it was touchdown and you let the ball hit you in the belly and the DB just swiped it down, bro, we got problems. I said, we're fighting on the sideline because if I throw a ball as pretty as that, you better go up and catch it as high as point because that could have been 2 touchdowns earlier in the game for Cam. And then defensively, we've given up some big plays. I know we're supposedly ranked number 1 in the ACC. That concerns me. The offense doesn't concern me because it seems like they got it together and can pull it together. I think defensively, it's just you want to be more consistent and not give up those big plays.
Is that what you would be worried about? If you're the coaching staff now, they're on a bye week, but if you're the coaching staff now, you're preparing for Louisville on the 19th. Is that what you'd be worried about most?
Yeah, I think you get to a game like when it's 38-10, 8 minutes to go in the third. I know as me, I'd be thinking about 4-minute offense and just taking the air out of the ball, and just basically Miami wouldn't have another opportunity to get the ball. Just shorten the game, especially with the clock changes with college football. The clock doesn't change as much. You can eat a bunch of it away. That would be my concern. I also think my concern was for Cal is that all-go route that Channing loves. I used to love running all-go and 2-minute drill. And I would turn around and tell the running back, do not block. Just give me a split second and turn around as a delay, because he knows in 2-minute drill, linebackers love flying out deep, and they love trying to cover the pass. You throw a little pass 2 yards downfield, dude turns around, and it's 10 to 15 plus. And the number 24 on Cal's team, the dude was the fastest dude on the field. I mean, it was unbelievable how fast he was only a sophomore from Oakland, and that was really my concern in the second half. Was they just threw the ball to 24 and let him run because nobody on our defense could stop him.
And having this bye week, they talk about Andy Reid all the time. Andy Reid's win percentage after coming off a bye week is crazy. Is it that now the good coaches have 2 weeks to plan for that next game, or is it that they have the opportunity to fix their problems while planning for the next game?
I think with what they were doing is they put in stuff they hadn't done. Maybe they had done it in 2 days. Maybe they worked on it in spring camp, so they had a little bit of a grasp. But I think that they gave looks to Cam defensively that they hadn't run, and vice versa on offense. I think that there was a couple plays, in the first half where I saw Cam kind of going like this. And you know as well as I do, if a quarterback's looking to both sides of the field, you're really not seeing either side of it. You really kind of just look to the safeties. All right, it's going to be one, and I know I got man coverage of some kind, and I can go to the other side. And I thought him looking to both sides, I thought they had him confused at times, and I think that's what guys do on bye weeks. If I was on Miami's team right now, I used to hate bye weeks. I mean, when Jimmy and Dennis were here, especially this early in the season, man, it was hard. I mean, we practiced harder than we played on Saturdays. I don't know if you can still do that.
Probably not allowed to.
Yeah, with the limited. I mean, heck, they don't even have 2-a-days nowadays. I know this, that at least, and even listen to Mario and Joe Rose, he sounded a little fired up. I don't know if they did win, but it sounded like there's enough to correct there to have some hard practices for a week.
Gino Torretta, he is with us every week. He's the ambassador for Evenings Delight, South Florida's source for all your outdoor kitchen, grilling, and tailgate needs. Evenings Delight is South Florida's source for Big Green Egg grills and accessories, seasoning, sauces, and more. I want to ask you a couple of things here before we end up running out of time. First of all, the reason that we played Van Halen at the beginning, which version of Van Halen was your favorite version, David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar?
Oh, David Lee Roth. I mean, Sammy Hagar when he was solo was awesome. I guess over time it kind of I warmed up to Sammy, but David Lee Roth, dude, that was like early 80s. I mean,
Hot
come
for
on.
Teacher, Panama.
They had the running tights and the long hair, might have.
I mean, that's how you and I used to dress for the Grove. We'd put on the spandex.
Oh yeah,
long hair.
They had the feathers out of the hair.
Yeah, David Lee Roth version. David Lee Roth version.
The best is Solana goes, "Is this Van Halen?" I'm like,
As we were playing Jump coming into this segment, Solana said, "Is this Van Halen?" Now, Jump is probably their most iconic song. It was their biggest hit song, pop song. Yeah. They have great songs. I'm a huge Van Halen fan, but Solana was like,
"What was the album? That album was 84, right? 1984. Jump was on, right?
Yeah, it was one of the best albums. If you didn't have that cassette, I didn't need to know you.
Here's another thing. Hawk was getting.
I was king of the mixtape.
He'd making mixtape for his lady friends.
I was the king. I could talk better through a mixtape than I ever could through my mouth. Oh, I was the king of the mixtape.
You lack the verbal skills, but you made mixtapes for your.
I did. Oh,
what do you do? Whether you just walk up and slide them the mixtape, you don't speak to them. You just.
And first of all, you know I love music.
Missy,
I always want to be a
listen
DJ.
to this. This is how I really feel. It
Like,
started
hey,
off
take a
with
listen
Van
to this.
Halen.
I didn't need to tell her
then
this
worked
how
into
I
some
really
slow-
feel. Like, hey,
some
just
slow
take a listen to
tunes.
this because she got it real quick. She understood when LL Cool J, "I Need Love" came on.
Did you, Hawk? Did
I
you
need
ask for the tape
love.
back? Because let's see, there was the 60-minute cassette, then the 90, the 120. Did you buy like the shortest version, or did you
So
ask? For
I didn't
back
want
so
them
you
to
could
get
re-tape on top?
I didn't want them to get a false idea of what I would end up being. So I never got the long tape. I always got the shortest possible one. I would get a 30-minute tape if possible. So sometimes I would get a single because I didn't want to give them the wrong idea.
Did you ever give a mixtape to one of your friends and then just accident, or your romantic targets, if you will, and at the end, unfortunately, it was like your parents being recorded off your
like
boombox?
Like, I love the part at the end where your mom is like, "Can you please eat the meatloaf?" What did I record?
Gino, why does your friend keep giving me tapes? He must like you, Missy.
Listen, Gino had a Heisman Trophy to speak for him. I needed my mixtapes.
But I don't have, Hawk, I will say this. I think I was one of the only guys. I had the old individual CD player, like at least when they came out in away games, and everybody be like, "What are you listening to?" Phil Collins, "In the Air Tonight" on repeat.
Which is the same answer Warren Sapp would give you, which is the same answer Michael Irvin would give you, and he came. Here's another one. You were in California for a while for UM Cal. Did you go to In-N-Out Burger?
Hold on a sec. Did I go to In-N-Out this trip? Yes, I did. Yes,
All right.
I went there, and then I went to Top Dog, which is one of my favorite hot dog places, sausage places.
Ryan Bishop told me. He sent me a picture of you guys at Top Dog.
On Cal's campus. I texted a picture to Joe Rose because he probably spent too many times there, at end of nights while he was a student there. So I got all my vices in, if you will.
And then finally, we had Rob Pizzola on yesterday, who's Italian, but his family. Yeah, so his family, and he texted me last night. He went home. He asked his mom, could you make noodles and gravy? She had no idea what he was talking about. So did your family call red sauce gravy?
No, it's mashed potatoes and gravy. It's pasta and
really?
sauce.
So gravy is not sauce, but you're a West Coast guy.
You're the only dude that asked this question. No, there's no such thing as
Tony
gravy.
Soprano calls it gravy.
It's sauce. It's sauce.
Some people call it gravy.
No.
Can you cook gabagool on a big green egg?
Gabagool, no. Gabagool is cured hanging in a basement, and that's cured meat there.
What would you rather have? A big, grill session with some delicious steaks, or a gabagool?
I will say this, Hawk. I went to Italy for the first time this summer, and we took a tour of a prosciutto factory. And I think the factory pumped out 8,000 prosciuttos a week. And I went in there, and it was just hanging smell of prosciutto, and then we got to eat it after. I would take that over everything. I love
true
the smell
false,
of it.
A true Italian doesn't say manicotti. They say manicotti.
Yeah, nobody makes that either. I mean, stuff like that. It's like stuffed shell. I don't know. I mean,
when's the last time you've had spumoni?
Oh, it's tough to get some spumoni down here.
I had some in Philly. I was there a couple of weeks ago. Josh, with the show. I was in Philly.
I was so jealous.
We went to the Italian market. We went to the Italian market, and they had a big sign out, noodles and gravy. Walked in, and then they had spumoni for dessert.
So good. How good was it?
I hadn't had it probably since in the 1970s was the last time I had spumoni.
I made spumoni at home one time. I got some pistachio ice cream, got some chocolate, got some black cherry ice cream, and I basically made like a cake of it in 3 levels and then put it in the freezer. Man, it was so good.
It is so spumoni.
Have
you
ever had tartufos? It's
no.
like a cherry in the middle, and then it's like chocolate and vanilla ice cream, and it's dipped in chocolate and then frozen solid. It's like the old Magic Shell on top
Oh, did I
of
love
chocolate
Magic
vanilla
Shell?
with the cherry in the middle. Oh man, so good.
Oh,
Now
I
I'm
tell you
hungry.
what, give me a gabagool sandwich and one of those tartufes. I
Tartufo.
mean,
You know what? I had you pegged
Heaven.
more as a Soprasat guy and not a Capicola.
give me an
Right.
Aperol spritz, some
You know,
gravy and
I'm
noodles, some
taking your Italian.
spumoni.
I'm taking your Italian card on that. When you and you still haven't tried the Ugo spritz. Try the
I have
Ugo
not.
spritz, and then we can talk.
All right,
You and
this
your
weekend
you
I
and your
will.
Aperol spritz.
Gino Torretta, the
You hold your
ambassador for
pinky out.
Evenings
You hold
Delight,
your pinky out when you're
South
sipping on it.
Florida's like Tony Sperano and Paulie Walnuts.
He's screaming
South Florida's-
gabagool the whole time.
South Florida's source for all your outdoor kitchen grilling and tailgate needs. They have a full line of grills, smokers, charcoal, pellets, and fuel. Gino loves to grill, and I'm telling you, he loves Evenings Delight. 2 locations, Pinecrest and Davie. And again, Evenings Delight is South Florida's source for Big Green Egg grills, accessories, seasoning sauces, and more. Safe travels to California again, Gino.
Appreciate it, guys.